The mass protests in recent weeks, as well as the recent changes in government and the expected judicial overhaul having its effect on the Israeli economy. And with us now to elaborate is economic consumer behavior expert, Assistant Professor Vili Abraham. Hi, Vili. So The Economist ranked Israel as the fourth best performing economy in 2022 among OECD countries. And in 2020, Israel ranked 19th among the economies in the world, making the top 20 for the first time in history. So why is everyone freaking out so much? What's about to happen?
Well, investors are freaking out, especially in the high-tech sectors, because a lot of companies have withdrawn money from Israeli banks. And this is one of the reasons why, until today, the stock market has decreased. If you look at shares, held by the big banks like Bank Leumi, Bank Poalim. So companies have withdrawn 780 million shekels, and they have withheld about 2.2 billion shekels from coming into the country and actually from depositing it in banks. So banks are really panicking because the more investors will withdraw money from the banks, this will bring down the value of their shares.
Now, as you said, many investors look at Israel today and ask themselves, why is this reform so different from everything we had up to now? That's really pushing investors and companies to leave here and take their big money with them? I mean, the legal system has always gradually evolved and changed over Israel's 75 years of existence.
Yeah, well, the thing is that investors are concerned that the new reform will lead to a lot of instability, which we do see that is developing. And the other thing is that they're concerned that a lot of the foreign direct investment that we have seen coming into the country before COVID and during COVID, and now there's a decrease because overall in the high-tech sector, things are not very, the situation is not very good because of supply chain issues, because of the inflation that is infecting the whole world. So they're concerned that this will bring down the investments into the country and therefore lead to a lot of layoffs. Today, the high-tech company hires about 10% of the workforce. It accounts for about 15% of GDP and about 40% of exports.
Now, Israel is considered the high-tech nation, startup nation, and the pace things are going. Do you see it having a real effect on that?
Well, in the short term, we do see that there are effects, as we saw in the stock market and companies withdrawing their money. In the long term, the concern is that this will lead to a decrease in Israel's credit rating, which means that when the government wants to borrow money in order to, sponsor its activities in the country, it will increase the returns. The interest will be much higher. And this means that we customers in Israel or consumers in Israel will have to pay a lot more in the supermarket or a lot more taxes because, the government will have to fill its coffers somehow. And it usually comes from the citizens.